So, it's so what? Why are you guys out here? Why is this important?
Well,
Where do we start?
I know. Well, for one, we're not getting paid nearly enough of what we should be getting paid. We're working long hours. We have to book. We already actors have a 98% unemployment rate, and then on top of that, we are getting underpaid compared to most other jobs. So, like for instance, there's about 86% of the union members aren't eligible for health insurance. To make health insurance, you have to make $26,000 in a year. Put that into perspective. The poverty line for America is 30,000. And LA is one of the more expensive cities to live in terms of cost of living. So that puts it into perspective where most people in the union or most actors are not making a livable wage, and that's why we're out here. And we, with streaming services especially, that number has only gone down because that's the number one way people consume media nowadays. And that's why we need more. We need to be paid a fair wage so that we can actually make a living, pay our bills, and feed ourselves.
Pay our bills and feed ourselves.
Yeah,
That's
all
we
down
want.
to.
It's not like we're all out here going, well, I have a 5-year-old. My BMW is getting old.
Yeah.
No, it's not that.
Oh yeah, I need a new Ferrari.
Listen, bro, I just want to get my cup of noodles for tomorrow. Like that's all I'm looking for.
That's it. That's all we need.
We're not trying to get a car. We're just literally trying to get to our next meal. We're trying to make sure we got our bills paid and our rent paid. Because like the other thing that we have to look at is like every time the way audience consume media, going from like pure theater to being able to see stuff on TV to being able to like purchase VHS DVD and stuff like that. The model at which actors have to be paid needs to change. And the problem is the CEOs, they're already looking way ahead of that, figuring out, okay, how can we pay them the littlest amount so that we can pocket the most?
Right.
And here's the thing, like, when people are making that much money, I mean, was it like you would say, like, on an average, CEOs would only have to give up about 2% of their income, which, again, is pennies, to satisfy the needs of the WGA, to satisfy the needs of SAG. And this is literally just coming down to, like, like you said, we're not trying to get a BMW. We're literally just asking for fair pay.
Yeah.
We don't want to worry if we're going to have to find a new place to live, move back in with our parents, move out of state if our family's out of state, something like that. Like we as actors do deserve that stability that other professions find. Exactly.
Thank you. Woo!
I mean, like the gig that finance my acting, with like personal training and coaching stuff like that. I mean, even though it's very volatile and I go based off. Right. And how much work we actually have to put in for that, those 1-2 lines, for those 2 scenes, whatever it is that we're auditioning for. Because at the end of the day, those residuals, that's not necessarily the payment for our time on set. That's the payment for the years of work that we did to get that job.
Oh God, some jobs it's 3-4 callbacks.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Absolutely.
Studying them and all the work to study the lines to get ready to run all that stuff.
Producer sessions, screen tests,
Yes.
all these things.
There's a lot we do as actors to prepare for a role, to make sure that we're giving our best when we actually have to shoot that scene that we're not getting paid for on set. We're putting our own time in for that. When we go, if we have to do, learn 30 pages in a day, we're shooting 10 pages tomorrow, 10 pages the next day, 10 pages the next day. We have to come memorized for all of that.
Yeah.
And we may not necessarily have the time on set to memorize. So we go home after a 8, 10, 12-hour day. We go home and we learn the lines for tomorrow.
Yeah.
And then we show up to set tomorrow with those lines memorized that we're going to shoot. And we shoot it, and then we do the same thing the next day.
Yeah, and then like the time we spend working with our coaches and stuff like that. So I mean, a 12-hour day on set really equates to about 20 hours of work, if not that, if not more.
Right.
And I think people need to understand, like I said, that is what the residual pay is. That's what the fair pay for these days on set needs to be. It's not just the time on set; it's the time spent off of sets.
Yeah.
And on top of that, the actual time investment that we put into this career, the time investment and the financial investment that we put into this career.
Classes, headshots, all that.
Headshots. A good round of headshots can cost you $600.
Yeah.
A good acting class can cost you $250 a month.
Sometimes up to $400, depending on the teacher. If they're
sometimes a lot more. And then not only that, but but we have but we're in class for not just we're not just paying for going to college, but we're also in classes constantly. We're paying if it's $250 a month, multiply that by 12, and that's how much we're paying just to keep in touch with it and fine tune our craft to give them, the producers, and these projects the best that we can, and to tell these stories.
Yeah, and like a lot of us did go to college, and plus we're doing the continuing education and craft refinement on top of that. So take what Sebastian said, add 4 years college tuition, sometimes more, because people go to grad school, myself included, again, just develop those skills, and that is a lot of money. Doesn't matter your profession, going to school, going to grad school is a lot of money.
Yeah.
And we go get these educations, we do this ongoing training because we're expecting a return on investment. Simple as that. Like, we're expecting, like, okay, all these hours, all this money that I'm putting into this, I'm expecting to get that back and then some.
Yeah. And like, it's such a great point because, all right, there's no guarantee you're going to get a return on that investment. But when you do get booked on something and big corporations are making money off of that product, then you got to get paid fair, man.
Exactly.
Like, I don't want to hear Jeff Bezos and his hundreds of billions of dollars. And that's the thing. We're not battling little studios anymore. We're battling Amazon, which owns Whole Foods, which has the largest shipping company in the world.
Yeah.
Oh, and by the way, they have this huge streaming service. It's like, it's nuts what we're battling, and they can't give up some of that.
They can't give up. They can't pay their CEO is making what, $500,000 a year, like on the Prime Video side of things. They're like all the CEOs are making.
That's a low CEO salary.
Low end.
Well, that was just just like one bit of income. You combine that with like the Whole Foods and this and that and this and that, and now we're talking in the millions.
You lessen that person's pay by $50,000, which is still very, very livable in this city, and maybe 20% more of these actors who are constantly working can maybe live and actually commit to time for your company, for your productions. Most other jobs besides this job as an actor and in the union don't want their employees working multiple jobs. They want their employees to commit to their company. And right now, the way we're being paid, you want us to work 4 or 5 jobs at a time, and then you're disappointed when your top choice isn't getting paid fairly, and they have to decline a job because they have to make rent.
I've literally had to turn down a job because my quote-unquote actor survival job paid more.
Yeah.
That's backwards, man. Yeah. Like, I should take a day off of work to go shoot the thing because that thing should be, again, worth the time that I'm spending on set.
Yep.
Which is nuts.
That's the reality.
Yeah.
What are your guys' names?
I'm Connor Tribbley.
I'm Sebastian Shear.